Hi, I'm going to be talking about Havoc, starring Tom Hardy and directed by Gareth Evans. Havoc was my most anticipated movie of 2025. I've been waiting like 2 years for this film. I know that's unfair on any movie to have that level of expectation, but I was excited. I think you'll understand if you've seen some of Gareth Evans' other projects. The Raid 2. Wow, what action movies. And the Gangs of London, Season 1. Sequences and episodes directed by Gareth Evans. Television, action television at its best. And I thought with Netflix behind Havoc, I was hoping for a Heat equivalent in terms of gnarly martial arts mayhem. Unfortunately, I'm disappointed. Havoc is set in an unnamed city. It's a bit too CGI heavy for me. It reminds me a bit of Sin City, but Sin City's look is way better. Having said that, the opening action sequence seems fake, seems CGI. It's hard to tell, but it was really exciting car chase. Tom Hardy plays a compromised cop, sucked into drug crime and political corruption. Gareth Evans, if you look at his project, seems interested in organised crime. I'm a massive fan of Gareth Evans. I think he's an action director maestro, one of the best working today in cinema or television. But here in Havoc, I felt the combat sequences were parsimonious. There's only arguably about 3 action sequences, and the director's done everything better before. Like, for example, the nightclub action scene. Gareth Evans directed that better in The Raid 2. That whole scene in The Raid 2 is unbelievable. Exhausting in a good way. Whereas the nightclub scene in Havoc is headache-inducing. John Wick also did a nightclub scene far better than Havoc. I don't know why Gareth Evans bothered to revisit a nightclub setting for a sequence. Also, you've got the cabin climax here in Havoc. This doesn't ruin anything. Whereas you compare and contrast the countryside shootout in Gangs of London, that the orchestration there is extraordinary. I still think about it. I can't believe television could be that good. Because of that, and because of the first episode as well of Gangs of London, directed by Gareth Evans, of season 1. You don't need to see seasons 2 and 3. They're not that great, but season 1, wow, treat yourself. And also we've got Sonny Pang, the actor. He was very intimidating in the movie Headshot, which I highly recommend. Here in Havoc, he feels wasted. Then also we've got the mayoral ambush scene. That's over too soon. I was hoping for urban warfare. You compare and contrast, say, Den of Thieves, the sequence that climaxes that film, or Sicario, and Havoc's ambush feels lackluster. And you compare Tom Hardy with Keanu Reeves. Tom Hardy's fisticuffs sequences are too short. I wanted them elongated. You compare Keanu Reeves and say John Wick 4, which I love. Tom Hardy doesn't come across as in the same league as Keanu Reeves in terms of fisticuffs and fighting. In Havoc, many characters are shredded with gunfire. I laugh in sort of horror at sort of the gore in those scenes and those sequences. But ultra violence does not make up for underwhelming fight choreography. There is a positive, though. What I did like in Havoc was that most of the characters have shades of grey to them. They can justify their dubious actions, or they can justify their sort of striving for redemption. I find it welcome that Havoc did this. I can also understand, Tom Hardy's lead character's abrasiveness. His character is riddled with a devouring guilt, which if you watch the film, you'll understand why. However, Havoc's plotting is lazy, it feels to me. For example, a cop colleague of Tom Hardy's lead turns up at Tom Hardy's character's wife's home, and she just tells her, where Tom Hardy's character is going to be. That could potentially lead to bad consequences for the lead character. And you were wondering why the wife character is doing this. The spousal character is doing this. It just sort of felt like you sort of squint in, sort of and why is she putting Tom Hardy's lead in potential danger? Also, Tom Hardy's character is called Walker. What a bland name for an action character's name. And also, the two main action sequences have the main protagonists all descend together in them, and I felt it was contrived and ridiculously convenient. Havoc feels uninspired, even up to the final shots fired in the movie. Did I mention how disappointed I am? I'd check out instead The Night Comes for Us. That is a wow-inducing action movie. Also, The Shadow Strays from last year. And also, not many people talk about this film, but Killzone 2. You don't need to have seen the first Killzone, but that is, I still, that's another film that has sequences that are outstanding. Also, if you haven't already treated yourself, check out Gareth Evans' Raid and the Raid 2. They're up there with the best of modern action cinema. I think you will, if you like action movies, you'll be glad you saw them. Thank you.